前几年在深圳城中村，很多小众的工资。
A few years ago, in the urban villages of Shenzhen, many laborious wages were still around 4 to 5,000 yuan. However, starting last year, the situation changed, and many people left the urban villages. Workers there, such as those in rice noodle shops, dessert shops, and fast food restaurants, receive meals and accommodations, but their monthly salary is only 3,000 to 3,500 yuan, and even those who perform well can earn at most about 4,000 yuan. What can one do with 3 to 4,000 yuan in Shenzhen? How can they manage daily expenses and support their families? How can they buy a house, get married, have children, and send their kids to school? This is truly a frustrating situation. There are also many similar workers. Previously, their factory wages were about 6 to 7,000 yuan, but this year they have generally dropped to 4 to 5,000 yuan. Think about it, with a salary of 4 to 5,000 or 3 to 4,000 yuan, how can one survive in a city where the average house price is nearly 60,000 yuan? Although there might be dormitories to live in and canteens to eat in, who will care about the future of us, the grassroots workers? Experts keep encouraging young people to deliver fewer takeaways and work more in factories. The largest factory in Shenzhen, Foxconn, offers a base salary of 2,360 yuan for 5 days and 8 hours without overtime. How much do you think one can earn? So, reluctantly, I chose to start delivering food for Meituan, hoping that the lives of us ordinary people can attract everyone's attention, truly narrow the gap between rich and poor, and make everyone's life better.
忽然发生了一个怪事。
Recently, a strange thing happened. On the Boss Jipin website, there are no more bosses because even the bosses are looking for jobs. There are 4 very harsh statistics. Next month, 11,790,000 college students will start graduating and looking for jobs. Boss Jipin company earned 17 billion yuan in the past 3 months, with monthly active users reaching 46,600,000. Nowadays, you and your boss might be competing for the same position. Moreover, the average debt per person is over 200,000 yuan. 600 million people still have no savings at all. Better off bosses might think of taking out loans to get through this difficult time. But I am in the loan business myself and know banks too well. Banks are very snobbish. If they see that your business is getting worse year by year and your business volume is declining, they will be even less likely to give you a loan. Instead of dealing with these matters, some bosses might as well close their companies on the spot, leading to more unemployment. Some people might say, it doesn't matter, if I can't find a job, I'll just drive for Didi. But you need to understand that this industry, which requires no academic qualifications and has very low entry barriers, is already very saturated. There are not many options left for workers. Currently, the number of registered ride-hailing drivers in China exceeds 100 million, and even the authorities have started issuing warnings. In the past, driving for a ride-hailing service required working on one platform, and you could still earn about 10,000 yuan a month. But now, with more and more people driving for ride-hailing services, drivers need to use 2 or 3 platforms simultaneously to get orders. Even so, the average number of orders per person is decreasing. Data from the Ministry of Transport shows that in many places, the average number of ride-hailing orders per day is less than 20, with daily earnings of less than 200 yuan. There are just too many people looking for jobs. Now, whether it's big companies or small ones, every year, a batch of people are forced into unemployment, and then they flood into the ride-hailing and food delivery industries. You can notice that the security guards at the entrance of residential areas are getting younger and younger. If you still have a relatively stable job, I suggest you don't resign, especially not without having another job lined up. In an imbalanced supply and demand situation, money is hard to earn, and jobs are very hard to find. This is not a problem faced by just you alone.
今天带大家看一下这个大商场。
Today, let's take a look at this large shopping mall. As we enter, this second floor should be the best location in terms of area, but what does it look like now? It really feels like such a large mall is a waste of resources. You can't see a single person anywhere, right? Sometimes it's really not that the businesses are not working hard, it's just that there are no people. At midday, whether it's office workers or people passing by from the subway, there should be a few people coming in for a drink or a meal, right? There are absolutely none. This is the current situation. No matter what kind of business you run, this beauty salon has closed down, it's all dark. Moving forward, this door has been locked for a long time. It used to offer beauty services and spot removal. These services are relatively high profit, but they can't sustain the business. Look at this layer of dust, it shows they've been closed for a long time. The children's training center here has also closed. So whether it's making money from women or children, it's not easy. Moving forward, this fried chicken shop is also closed. There's still Spring Festival couplets pasted here, indicating it closed after the new year. This mall is actually reasonably designed, with multiple elevators, but the escalators are all stopped, there's no one, running them is just a waste. This Blackfish restaurant was quite busy when it opened, I remember coming to eat here. Now it's closed down, the owner must have lost a lot. Seeing shop after shop closing, my heart bleeds, these owners are powerless, but what a huge price they have to pay. Now with the poor overall environment, do not start a business lightly, whether offline or online. Just like this mall, no matter how hard you try, it's useless. We've been walking around here for so long, not a single person has passed by. What exactly is the problem? No one knows.
刚刚从朋友那里获得的重磅消息。
I just received some big news from a friend. The wave of salary cuts in central and state-owned enterprises has begun. Mid-level and senior managers are seeing cuts of 50%, while regular employees are facing cuts of 30 to 40%. The nationally recognized annual salary portions are subject to backdating checks, and non-compliant portions must be refunded. From what I have learned, the salary cuts are inevitable, it is only a matter of time. The salary ceiling for executives has already appeared. The comprehensive salary reduction in the state-owned system is imminent. Although there are regional differences, the trend of salary cuts is irreversible. In conclusion, the salary cuts in central and state-owned enterprises are not necessarily a bad thing. There are both forced and positive aspects, and it is an inevitable market adjustment. In the future, it seems that making money in central and state-owned enterprises will not be as easy as it once was.
我的店要关门了，因为交不起房租了。
My small shop is about to close because I can't afford the rent. In July, I have to pay the rent for the second half of the year, but I still don't have the money. As an 80s generation parent with 2 kids, I opened a clothing store. I rented this storefront in 2017. At that time, the monthly rent was more than 2,800 yuan. With sanitation fees, utilities, and an employee's living expenses, the fixed monthly expenses amounted to about 5,000 yuan. Back then, my eldest child was still young and hadn't started primary school. Although there weren't many expenses, I only had one child, so I could barely maintain a basic livelihood. In the past 3 years during the pandemic, the clothing business has gotten worse each year. Last year, my eldest child started taking art classes, which also cost a lot of money. I usually only spend money on daily necessities and save on everything else. Life is really tight. Apart from spending money on my 2 children, I don't dare to spend a penny on anything else. Thinking back to those years when I opened the store, I could still ensure the basic needs of my 2 children. But this year, the business is completely down, and the pressure of life is really high. Last week, the landlord called to say that the rent is due and that the rent will be increased. Hearing this, I felt that it was completely driving me not to continue renting the store. At this time of year, I need to replenish stock, which requires cash, and now I also have to pay the rent. I really don't know if I can continue to keep the store open.
A friend from Jiangxi shared with us that he is in the beef business. He feels that there are especially many complaints this year, regardless of whether it is doing business, running enterprises, working, or farming and breeding. Everyone has noticed that the involution phenomenon in China is particularly serious. What is involution? Simply put, it means exhausting oneself and killing the competition. This friend said that in their cattle breeding industry, when the market was good, a breeding cow could be sold for about 10,000 yuan, and better ones could even sell for over 10,000 yuan. As more and more people joined the cattle breeding business, the breeding volume increased, and the import of live cattle also began to increase, leading to a backlog of live cattle in the domestic market. A backlog cannot remain unsold, the market needs to operate, funds need to flow, and families need to live. So what to do? The only option is to sell at low prices. Previously, cows that could sell for 10,000 yuan now can only sell for 8,000 yuan due to the market downturn. When the market is worse, they can only sell for 6,000 yuan. As a result, some competitors see cows of the same quality selling at this price, and they lower their price by another 2,000 yuan to sell. As a result, the market gradually declines. Calculating the cost of a breeding cow, including the cost of raising the calf, it basically costs 3,000 yuan a year. If the calf cannot be sold for 3,000 yuan, it will not cover the cost of raising it, not to mention making a profit. Yet everyone still needs to raise cattle, ending up exhausting themselves and their competitors, ultimately not earning a penny, and even losing money. This is involution, where peers constantly generate internal friction, ultimately consuming themselves. So, facing such a seriously involuted market in China, what should we do? I have two suggestions. First, you can leave your office and not just listen to reports from department heads. Go to the market, listen to the new needs of customers, and see if there are new opportunities in these needs. Leave the business site, visit more exhibitions, and attend industry gatherings. Often, vision is the real limitation. Second, look at external industries. Learn from their practices and strategies, which can be new methods and opportunities. What do you think? Feel free to leave a comment below to discuss with us. That's it for this video. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.